Hello and welcome to this video in which I want to talk to you about adaptation and just ask you the question, how is your law firm adapting to the coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic? I've heard a quote where it said, you're either adapting as a business or you're dying. Hopefully your law firm is adapting during this pandemic and you're going to be able to survive this. But I want to talk to you about this today because I've been talking to a number of attorneys who are worried that they're not going to be able to adapt to survive this pandemic. Now, I was reading an article this week in the magazine Entrepreneur, and it was actually talking about the restaurant industry. And as you know, in multiple parts of the country, pretty much all over the country for a period of time, most of the restaurants were shut down in that they couldn't have in-person dining. Now, this article was talking about a particular franchise owner. It was an interview with him in which this owner owned more than 700 franchise units across North of America. Now, that's a lot of franchises to be all shut down at one time. I can't imagine the carrying costs that go along with being down for 30 or 60 days when your industry and your bread and butter, so to speak, comes in from the restaurant industry. Now, in this case, this particular franchise owner had another business that was called Franklin Junction. And this other company, he had adapted before coronavirus, but he had created this other company because he saw in the restaurant industry, there was an excess of, kitchen space that even when he would open a new franchise, it rarely would be where it would be running the kitchen at 100%, full tilt all the time. So he was using this excess kitchen space in order to basically run other franchises out of the same restaurant building. So in the example that was used in the article, he owned some Ruby Tuesdays. And a Ruby Tuesday, as you know, is like a sit-down restaurant in North America. And the Ruby Tuesday kitchens weren't running at full capacity. So he brought in another franchise out of Canada that was basically using the same kitchen space, but they were using that franchise for just delivery of food services. So he didn't need to have a brick and mortar, didn't have to build a whole nother restaurant for this other franchise, but they were adapting to use the capacity that they already had in order to run multiple businesses out of that location. Now, that's a great adaptation. And in particular, he said during coronavirus, with all the restaurants that were shut down, what previously was a side business of Franklin Junction now became in high demand because there were so many restaurants that were shutting down and they needed to figure out how to use this kitchen capacity and maximize their revenues. So that's a great story and an instance of adaptation. And I've been talking to a number of attorneys and law firms even during this coronavirus about where they're rethinking everything right now. You may be doing the same in your law firm. Take, for example, commercial real estate, office sizes, working remotely, the spacing of workers within an office. There's so many ideas around just the commercial real estate aspect itself that are probably going to be impacted long term. And maybe your firm is looking at, do we need as much physical office space? Can we have people who are working remotely and doing it successfully? Can that continue? So that's one area of adaptation you need to be looking at. Second, which is my specialty at Martindale Digital, is also with automation and the use of the internet. Firms are looking at their online presence, their ability to communicate with current clients when they're not face-to-face with one another, the acquiring of new clients when they don't have an office to meet in. There are also just internal communication issues on how is a team within the law firm, how are the partners communicating with the associates, communicating with the administrative staff. There are so many areas of adaptation and automation where you can use tools like Zoom and Slack and Trello, and you may not even be familiar with some of these softwares, but that's what we specialize at or in at Martindale Digital, because we help law firms use the automation and use the internet to acquire clients, to you know generate new business, and to maintain that business by nurturing your clients even when you're not in a face-to-face position. So you need to be thinking about that from your law firm standpoint. You also should be thinking about just adapting to create other streams of income for your law firm. I've talked to a number of attorneys over the past few weeks where they are basically looking at how can they, in effect, create a product for their clients. So I was talking with one attorney who's in Kansas City, and she's created basically a do-it-yourself divorce kit for people who want to be able to go through a divorce, but they don't want to pay the fees to have a lawyer do it for them. So that's a way that you can, this attorney is in particular is using her expertise in family law to have a product to be able to sell to someone and still have a stream of income from that expertise, but allowing people to do it themselves. Other attorneys write books. They're authors. How do you promote those books online? How do you generate streams of revenue through those books? Consulting services. Maybe you're a law firm, but you're also consulting with businesses in a particular area that may not be legal services, but maybe consulting services. That's when I was with my firm in Washington, D.C., there was a consulting service that was, closely related to our law firm. So you need to be thinking about how you're adapting to create these other income streams, because if you don't adapt, you're in fear of dying. And that's not something that you want to do. Now, if you're trying to figure out how to adapt, how to bring your law firm online, I've created a resource for you. And let me just bring it up here on the screen for you, a link that is basically a workbook that shows you 3 simple technology tools that you can use to transform your law firm. These 3 technology tools show you how to use the technology and different platforms to attract new clients, land new business, and then communicate with those clients without having to be in person. So that's a great resource if your firm is looking at ideas on how to transform your law firm to use more technology and automation. So I'd encourage you to go to this link. It's right here below if you're watching the video, and download that resource so it can help you, at least give you ideas. Then I would also encourage you, after you've downloaded the resource, let me drop here a new link for my website at martindeledigital.com. After you've downloaded the resource and you've talked with your partners and the people within your firm and you're trying to figure out what to do next, go to martindeledigital.com and schedule a free consultation with me, and I can help you work through the ideas that you're thinking in your head and how to develop a great strategy to market your firm online. I've adapted many times in my career. I went from a government attorney to a private practice attorney. I've gone from medium-sized firms to big firms, back to small firms. I've been a solo practitioner. I've worked actually even in personal injury as well as corporate law. So I've done a lot, and I have a lot of experience from the 25 years that I've worked as an attorney. And you should piggyback on my experience. Don't try to learn it all yourself. Use me as a mentor and a resource, and Martindale Digital can help you and your law firm adapt so you don't die. That's all I have for you today, and I hope you'll go download that resource now, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Join me tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central for Martindale Digital Live, where we go live at 5 every day, and I give you more information to help your law firm adapt and not die. Thanks so much. Hope you have a blessed day.